Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes.
Poseidon hasn't done shit for Percy aside from giving him Riptide.
And Poseidon doesn't even give him Riptide, Chiron does.
No, yeah, he's just like, Riptide's a gift for my son when he's of age. But yeah, it's not.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No, Chiron just gives him Riptide. Riptide was Hercules' sword.
Dude, I thought it was a fucking birthright for Poseidon.
No, you're getting it confused with Luke's lightsaber. Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become modern pop culture. This week, we continue our journey through Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians with Story 41, The Battle of the Labyrinth. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing? My name is DJ, and if you don't already know, I am the muse of love rivals.
Oh!
You know, like rivals in love.
No. I got. Which I must have just forgotten.
Yeah.
Silly me.
It's weird that you forget. I mean, it's all the time.
I know. I don't know. I'm surprised. You know what? I think I just need to get my bearings real quick. Shall we swing by the theater real quick to get some inspiration?
Absolutely.
Well, we're back for a new season, and that means there's a little bit of housekeeping to take care of.
Absolutely. What are we donating to this month, Darien?
This month, we are donating to The Cabin. This is the only nonprofit organization in Idaho devoted entirely to arts and educational activities that celebrate reading and writing. If you're new to the show, this is something we do every month. We donate $1 for every patron we have over on Patreon to an organization working to create a net positive in the world. And this month, we're picking The Cabin because it's a local organization, and also I actually volunteered there over the summer and got to learn a little bit more about them. It was really cool. I was a teaching writing assistant at their summer camps for kids, and it was just a lot of fun. The Cabin works to bring world-renowned speakers to local stages, pair writing teachers with students at schools and juvenile detention centers, offer drop-in workshops, inspire community stories and program, and just put on other experiences that promote the power of literature.
Nice.
We currently have 8 patrons, so we'll be donating an additional $20 out of pocket, bringing our total donation to $28. And you can learn more about The Cabin through the link in our show notes.
And speaking of patrons, we have one to shout out because we got a new patron over the hiatus.
Yeah, we did.
Charlie.
Charlie!
Thank you so much, Charlie. It's amazing.
Yeah, Charlie is a delight. They have just brought the Discord to life, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it, too. It's fun to go in there and see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And if you would like to be like Charlie, go ahead and join us at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology, where you can also get access to the Discord and a bunch of other bonus content where we either are... Depending on what tier you join, you get access to our Bunker Nines, which is just bonus episodes on whatever we feel like. At least over the hiatus, it's on Twisted Tales. You get at least 6 of those, right?
Yeah, this incredibly, shockingly dark Disney-licensed adaptations of their own stories.
They are a blast. And if you go to a higher tier, you get access to our Remyth episodes, where it's just essentially our normal podcast, just about other things just outside of the Riordan verse.
Maybe it's about Disney's Hercules, or The Green Knight, or the
Eternals.
Netflix, wait, what?
Or Eternals. I know you wanted to forget it. I did too.
Yes, I was going to say Neil Gaiman's The Sandman comics to end us on a high note, but sure, talk about the time we complained about Eternals for an hour.
I mean, you talk about the time we complained about The Green Knight for an hour.
I thought that was a very nuanced conversation, but all right.
Was it a nuanced conversation, Darren?
I don't know, I don't know, listeners. You'll have to join our Patreon and tell us.
Honestly. We'd love to hear from you.
We really would.
All right, everybody, that's it for the tour. Let's get back to the episode.
All right, DJ, we have returned to tackle yet another book.
I don't know what you mean by returned. This is our very first episode of Muses of Mythology.
You and I are existing in different planes at the moment, I believe.
Yeah.
I think we need to come together
Maybe.
in the labyrinth and try not to get lost.
That'll be very difficult.
It will. It will. But let's kick it off as we do with a 2-minute recap. I think it's your turn.
Is it my turn? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me.
I think I can get all the big events that happen.
I mean, yeah. I think so too. Don't worry about the details. All right, ready? Go.
Hold on. Okay.
No, hold on.
So we got Percy going to an orientation, and it turns out that the cheerleaders of the school are actually vampire demons, in which Rachel Elizabeth Dare is also there and saves him. Annabeth shows up and is drags them along to the camp. They go to the camp. They find out there's a new sword teacher. His name is Quintus. He's cool. Tyson's also there. He's a chill dude. We see Nico through a Iris message summoning the dead, trying to find his sister. They find out that there's a labyrinth, and so we have to... Oh, Grover's also on trial because nobody can find Pan, and everybody's thinking that Grover's crazy. So they send out a quest to find Daedalus in the labyrinth, and they get Annabeth, Tyson, Percy, and Grover all together, and then they start going through. Grover and Tyson split off to go find Pan. Annabeth and Percy go to... What the fuck is his name? A ranch. They wind up at a ranch. Was Tyson and Grover there with them?
No, this is just Percy and Annabeth. Oh, yeah, no, they are all there with them.
Okay, so this is before they split off. They're all together. They go to a ranch. Percy also finds Nico there. They deal with the problem that's there, and they kill the leader of the ranch, and they go back in, and that's when they split off. And then Percy and Annabeth go to Hephaestus, and Hephaestus says, hey, go fix a forge. And so they go clear out a forge of Telkines, and in doing so, it was the Mount St. Helens eruption, eruption that Percy decided to cause. He got flown to Ogygia with Calypso, and then spends 2 weeks there, gets out of there, finally shows back up, and then they have to go in, and he realizes, oh yeah, I know exactly what it needs, so they find Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Yeah, there was no way. This is the biggest fucking book. There was no way I was doing it in 2 minutes. I'm still going to finish the thing, though.
Okay, finish it.
Because I was close.
You were very close. Yeah. No, you're fine.
So they go find a Rachel Elizabeth Dare, and they convince her to help them. And so they go down into the labyrinth, and she can literally see a path to Daedalus' thing. So they follow it. They fight one of Percy's brothers, who's also the son of Gia, and he defeats him. And they continue on down. They find Daedalus. Daedalus had already given the string of Ariadne to Luke and his crew. And then they get attacked by other people. So they have to fly away. And Daedalus isn't dead yet. And so they fly and they return to camp through means of the labyrinth and also Rachel's connections. They make it back to camp, and then they go back into the labyrinth to find Grover and Tyson. And they find Grover and Tyson real close to where Pan was. Pan shows up. He's like, yeah, I've been dying for the last 2,000 years, but the satyrs have been keeping me alive. And then he finally blesses Grover, chooses Grover as his champion, essentially, and then dies. And then... I hadn't listened to the rest of it. I want to say Luke shows up. It's 30 minutes. Come on. Luke shows up.
It's a pretty action-packed 30 minutes.
It really is. Luke shows up. They fight. They manage to drive them off while Daedalus is also there and helped the camp this time. And then Daedalus dies and the labyrinth closes. And I'm pretty sure there was a cliffhanger he left off on, but I don't remember what it was.
Nico. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Right, you literally can't. You can't remember. Okay. I think you forgot one. Mostly yes. One big thing about Luke.
Oh, he's now being controlled by Kronos.
He's literally an avatar for Kronos. Yep.
So that's the summary of the Battle of the Labyrinth, y'all.
Do we usually read the book summary, as a tone setting thing? Is that something we do?
I don't. Maybe we did it for Lightning Thief, but I don't remember doing it for the other two.
All right, so that's over. That's gone. It's literally a completely different podcast.
Yep.
Battle of the Labyrinth. This was the first book that we bought that had come out.
Nice.
Like when it came out, within the weeks that of coming out.
Like, essentially day one.
Kind of, yeah. I remember so clear. So here, I think I teased it in our very first, I think it was episode 0. I teased that I had a secret about Battle of the Labyrinth.
Oh, did you? Fuck, that was so long ago.
It was so long ago, but I'm going to share the secret now.
Okay.
Don't tell Nana.
Okay.
So, well, I guess don't tell Mom. I guess it doesn't matter. So, don't tell Johnny either, all right? So, a lot of people who, I think it is just Mom and Johnny. So, Battle of the Labyrinth. The summer it came out was one of the summers we went down to Texas to visit our Nana and Papa.
Uh-huh.
You may recall. And so Nana took us all to Barnes & Nobles and was like, I will buy you all a book. And I was like, oh, super torn. Because the new Percy Jackson book had just come out. But so had the new Warrior Cats book. And I was super into Warrior Cats also.
I couldn't get into Warrior Cats, but I got into Seekers, the bear one.
The bear one. There was also, there's fucking, Warrior Cats still coming out. There are still Warrior Cat books being actively published. The shelves, it takes almost a whole shelf space in bars and just these books. It's amazing. I see kids with Warrior Cats, new ones, and I'm just like, carrying on.
Hell yeah.
Fucking ThunderClan forever. So, yes, I'm basic. So, fortunately for me, Johnny was also reading the Percy Jackson books and was like, I want Battle of the Labyrinth. And I was like, great, I can get the Warrior Cat book and Johnny's getting the Battle of the Labyrinth and I'll be able to read them both. I don't have to make a choice. I can have everything I want in life. So we get back and I'm a very fast reader and the Warrior Cat books are not long. The font is pretty big. The chapters are pretty short. Like I breezed through it in a matter of hours. And Johnny had read like the first 2 chapters of Battle of the Labyrinth. Then he stopped and was playing video games. So I finished my book and I was like, hey Johnny, can I start reading Battle of the Labyrinth? He said, no, I want to read it first. And then continued to play video games.
Yeah, that was a thing with our family. We wanted to do it first.
Yep. And so I was annoyed. So I went to like, Mom, and I was like, can I read? I want to read the book. He's not even reading it. And she said, no, that's his book. You have to wait. And I was like, but he's not reading it. He's just playing video games. Can I just read it while he's playing? And when he's done, I'll give it back. No, he wants to read it first. Which I felt was a little unfair. Like I wasn't wanting to take it from him, but if he wasn't doing the activity... Can I do that? When he's done gaming, I will give him the book back? No. So I waited. And everyone forgot about my request. And an hour or so later, I grabbed the book off of the side table where Johnny had left it. Johnny's still playing video games. Maybe he's outside, I don't remember. And I went to the bathroom, the guest bathroom, and I hid in the bathtub. And I read the whole book in one sitting in that bathtub. This old brown beige bathtub and Nana's weird rose-smelling bathroom. I read the entirety of Battle of the Labyrinth in one sitting.
That's funny.
I think maybe I stopped to eat dinner, but I don't remember. I can't remember the time I said, but I know I read it all in that bathroom. I remember it just in the bathtub. Having to shift. It was very uncomfortable, but I did it. No one found out. I put the book back. Johnny was none the wiser. And I know he was none the wiser because that was the trip where we also went to Louisiana. So as we're driving in the car from Texas to Louisiana, Johnny's reading the book. And when he finishes it, he's like, here you go, Darien, it's your turn. And then I had to keep up the ruse. So I reread the entire book again.
That's goofy.
Yes.
Understandable.
But this was my secret. I did this. Johnny doesn't know.
A lot more secretive about something like that. When Jared didn't want me to play the Zelda game, I just bought a new one.
I think that's different. You just bought it. If I could have, here's the thing.
You still got mad at me for it. I'm like, I paid for it. I wanted to play the thing. You weren't letting me play it when you were playing your Xbox. I wanted to play this game. I'm just going to buy my own. And I remember everybody else in the family thought it was a piece of shit thing to do. Even you at the time. Oh, you're like, you shouldn't have done that. You should have waited. I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like
I didn't understand. I don't know. That's you bought it. If he wanted to play it first, but then you went and bought your own and were able to play it.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. That you were fine. You did nothing wrong.
Yeah. I'm like, what did I do? I wanted to play the game and he wasn't letting me, so I went out and I bought my own with my own birthday money.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
You were totally in the right. I was 12-ish. I think I was 12 when this book came out. It was like the last trip we did down to Texas. So 12, I think, 12, 13.
Yeah,
I did not have the means to drive myself to Barnes & Nobles and get the book, or I would have.
No, I didn't drive. We just happened to be going to like some other place. So I'm like, all right, well, while we're here, I'm going to buy my own thing.
Yeah. So I did not have the means to buy my own thing. So that's the big secret. That's the Battle of the Labyrinth. I've read it twice. And this particular copy I own is technically Johnny's copy. This is the copy that Nana purchased at Barnes & Noble's that fateful day.
It's got a little banana in it somewhere.
Oh yeah, this is the one you got banana in. It's also got like marker at the bottom from being inside, and it's got like weird, like just being in book bags over the year marks. Just that kind of like rough and tumble. The spine is like like the pages are completely disconnected from the spine. This book has been read and loved, and I love it. So,
yeah.
What do you think about Battle of the Labyrinth, DJ?
Up there is one of the favorites of these first 5.
Yeah, same.
It's very good, very strong.
I think I have to reread not Titan's Curse, Last Olympian to determine which one I like better. But I think of the 4 we've read, this is my favorite one.
Yeah, it's very, very clean. I like it a lot.
It's solid. It does a lot of really interesting things. Hold on a minute. How do we do these episodes? We just talk about shit? I don't talk about myths here?
We just go through the book and talk about it.
It's true. Okay. I just got my notes up. First thought, Paul Blofeld is great. He's a good man.
Fucking awesome, dude.
He's so good.
He's a good man. He's smart.
Mm-hmm. He is good enough for Sally Jackson.
100%. He's such a good dude.
Yep, he believes in Percy so much and has a really, really confusing orientation.
Yeah, he's like, all right, something clearly was wrong here. This is not Percy. Mm-hmm. Percy may be a troubled kid, but he doesn't light fires. He's not an arsonist.
Fires are murder cheerleaders. This was weird.
Oh, seriously.
Let's see. I have in all caps Rachel Elizabeth Dare, whom I love. I genuinely do. I think she is actually great. I think I know there are some folks who we are friends with that do not like her at all. I think she's awesome.
She's a fun character. Cool. Don't get me wrong. I think Percy is bad, but I think it's
yes. Percy is not in game,
but I think that's what people get like the prejudice against Rachel for is that.
They don't like Rachel because Annabeth doesn't like Rachel, and that's nonsense. It's nonsense.
I like Rachel because she's just a fun character.
She's fun, and she tries, and she does cool things. I like Rachel a lot. I love that for Rachel, Percy is like manic pixie dream girl. Because he's just like chaos and crazy and just overturns her life. But more specifically for her situation, he's like the first person she's met that can prove she's not like
crazy,
insane.
Yeah.
Because she sees things that no one else can see and has for her whole life. And it just probably has been told by her dad that she makes things up and her family and no one listens to her. And she's like, oh, there's got it. And they're like, oh, you're an artist. You just have an active imagination. And she's like, that's a snake man over there. That's a snake man on the bus.
Man is just actually a man of snakes.
He's made of snakes. He's a giant snake man. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Okay, don't look at it. It's fine. It's fine. It was a monster. Yeah, so that's her whole life. And all of a sudden, some kid with a sword is like, oh, Greek gods are real. And you can see all of this stuff. And she's like, oh, my God, thank God. Oh, my God.
I'm not crazy.
I'm not. It's, yeah. And so then that does, in fact, become an infatuation with Percy. But mostly what Percy represents, not necessarily Percy Jackson himself. But it's complicated when you're like 15.
Oh, yeah. I get it.
Much like, I think, while I dislike the fact that Annabeth has written to just be instantly jealous of Rachel over Percy, I also understand that it's hard when you're 14, 15. And Annabeth's jealousy is a reoccurring... a jealousy of Percy's relationships with other women is... girls, female characters, is a reoccurring theme through this book, which is new. I don't love it, but I also think it was... not to demonstrate, like, oh, Annabeth's a jealous person, but to relate that, like, oh, Annabeth likes Percy.
Yeah, I think that might be the case.
Which, as I've mentioned in the past, I did not understand reading it the first time. I was just like, why is Annabeth being mean to Percy? Why doesn't she like Rachel? Rachel's really cool. Whatever.
Because her encounter with it was finding Percy and Rachel alone together.
Writing a number. Rachel wrote her number on his hand, which Percy does memorize.
Yeah.
Wild. But okay.
It's pretty easy to do that when you're looking at it every time you look at your hand.
I mean, that's fair. I guess I don't memorize anything. But all right.
I memorize several numbers.
I know mine, and that is it. Also, the one from when we were in like elementary school and middle school, living in Middleton. I know that number still.
Hell yeah. I know Nana's and that number.
Oh, see, I don't know Nana's number.
or at least Nana's old one, not her new one. Her new one's different.
Okay. So, Mrs. O'Leary.
Love her.
Love Mrs. O'Leary. Just this hellhound, this giant hellhound.
Big old dog.
Just Quintus's girl. So good.
Mm-hmm.
You'd love to see it. There's a line in this book that I lost my mind over.
Yeah?
And it is when it was Percy meets Quintus, right? And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the new like swords master teacher, whatever." And Percy has a thought of like, "Oh, I've never met an adult demigod before." And I'm just like, never met an adult. I understand Percy's only been demigodding for like 3 years, right? This is his 4th summer.
Yeah.
Oh, this is his 3rd summer demigodding because last winter.
Yeah.
Titans
Here's the thing about that, right? Is that even Rick seemed to get confused as to when he was here last.
Yeah,
because he said,
baffled.
I haven't been to the camp since last summer. I'm like, bro, you were there the winter, actually.
Yeah, you were there in the winter. Also, it's like June right now. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't pick up on that. So, goodness me. Time is not anyone's strong suit, I think, in these books. But yeah, just really needing to, I feel like this gets glossed over too much. The fact that just demigods are expected to die.
Well, yeah, they just have like a short lifespan because it's either they don't find camp and they die because monsters found them before they realized anything, or they find camp and they live a little longer, but they still die because they weren't skilled enough. They didn't take it seriously, or something happened. Mistakes can happen, and because they have monsters constantly coming out of each other.
Yeah, and that's so messed up. But also, it's like monsters are constantly coming after like the powerful ones, right? Like Percy's always having to run. But they imply that like, oh, but if you're the child of like a lower tier god, you're fine. Like all of the kids who get to go back home when summer's over are implied that monsters don't bother them.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's also fair. Like, I mean, there just might be adult demigods out there that don't even know as well, right?
I mean, probably, but also it's like, okay, so essentially what it means is like, and we know Camp Half-Blood's been there for a really long time, so like not a single veteran camper comes back to like teach a class or do a seminar or help these kids at all, which means all the ones that would want to do that or are dead, or everyone just wants to get the hell away and never come back.
So they probably like found a way to like really conceal themselves, and then because we know that the more you
don't want to come back and help
like,
the kids.
Well, we know that like the more you know about yourself, the stronger you are, and the stronger your scent is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, this is just a reality that these like teens and tweens shouldn't be forced to live under. Just the acknowledgement that, like, oh, you're all expected to die. Seeing a grown-up that's like you is shocking and unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little rough.
So, like, I'm not saying Luke was right. I'm saying someone does need to tear down this system.
Well, I mean,
full on.
How are they going to tear down the system? The gods decide to just start meddling in everything?
DJ, it's not about doing things. It's not like, oh, they have to go away. It's about this fact that the structure, and also, we also know it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah, we see New Rome, but that's an entirely different culture, and it's just different beliefs and values.
Yeah,
the Greek and Roman, as similar as they are, they're also wildly different. You can't be comparing these.
I'm not, but I am saying
you just did.
I'm pointing out that the Roman demigods have the exact same problem that the Greek demigods have. That the monsters come after them, that they have to train, that if they don't get to camp, they'll die. Except they also have to deal with a wolf test. So it's like way up here.
Yeah, the wolf test
except they all have a culture where the city is full of adults. They also have a child army, so I'm like not saying it's better. I am saying that there's clearly a system in place, and the Greek in Camp Half-Blood has just accepted that children will die, that you will not go to adulthood. I'm saying Camp Half-Blood is clearly a problem. The way the camp is run, the way these kids have been essentially abandoned by their parents, left in a world that they didn't ask to be created into, that they didn't ask to be targeted by monsters.
Fucked up, but it's also been like so far the best way of producing just great heroes. They didn't know of the Roman camp.
So, okay, just because you don't know that someone else has run a test and things are going better doesn't mean you continue to do the thing in which it sounds like 99% of your campers die.
It might sound like that, but again, we don't know actually.
Percy's so fucking shocked. He's like, I've never seen an adult demigod before. And I get Percy's a very small
He's
thing,
also
but
been doing it for 3 years. Annabeth didn't say that, did she?
We didn't talk to Annabeth. They're not talking right now.
Exactly.
Here's my thing. But can you name another one?
Bunch of actors.
Oh shit, that's a good point. So what the fuck is Percy talking about? Hold on, there are tons of like famous folks who are demigods. Wait, what?
Literally.
He's never met him. Hold on, what is the line exactly?
I think the line is I've never met an adult demigod. Like we know people of history have grown to adulthood. As in
No. That's wrong. It's he's surprised. He's talking to Quintus. And he's like, oh, you young ones need more of a challenge. They don't have camps like this when I was a boy. You're a half-blood? I didn't mean to sound so surprised, but I'd never seen an old demigod before.
I mean, if I had to phrase something like that, I wouldn't say I've seen Johnny Depp. I mean, I've seen him in a movie, sure, but I haven't seen him.
Okay, but that's not what that's like saying, I've never seen an actor before. You have seen actors. They're on, yeah, you have. I've never seen an old actor before. What are you talking about, Percy?
I don't know. Percy just doesn't fucking... Maybe Percy is so out of the loop, he probably doesn't even know that all these other people were demigods. That's what it seems like to me.
That's also fair. I maintain that can be true, and also Camp Half-Blood is kind of fucked up.
I mean, maybe, but again, it's with what Quintus said. I mean, granted, yeah, it was dataless, right?
Right. So we forgot to mention then the recap, Quintus is dataless.
Yeah. But with like what he said, it seems like camp actually hasn't been around that long.
Okay. No. When he was a boy. No, camp has been around since fucking the Civil War.
Has it?
Yes, because the fucking Civil War was fought between Camp Half-Blood and Camp Jupiter. We know that for the fact. Which side were the Romans on?
Between the Greeks and the Romans. It was fought between the Greeks and it was not specifically camps. It was the Greeks and the Romans.
My fucking book. Hold on. No, it's the camps. Maybe it was the Greeks and the Romans. How would they be unified then?
I don't fucking know. They weren't, clearly. That the fight was probably still going on after the Civil War ended, and that's why they decided to like fucking wipe everyone's memory of the other side and separate them by a whole like continent.
Okay, here's the thing though, like we're not talking about it right now, but like I fucking hate this whole demigod Civil War mirroring.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad. Okay, we need to stop. We've gone completely off the rails. It was just absolute chaos. I'm going to refer to my notes again. What do I want to talk about? DJ, it's your turn. Refer to your notes. What do you want to talk about?
Fuck, I want to jump like straight into it, and I want to talk about Pan, but that's quite a distance.
That's at the end. I think we need to talk about Grover. Well, Grover, you mentioned the council. I found the council very interesting because I think this was the first time we were getting kind of minutia world building. Like, we've heard about the Council of the Cloven Elders, like this Satyr Council, but actually getting to see them and what they represent is very interesting. All throughout these first two chapters, no one wants to tell Percy about the Labyrinth. Like, it keeps almost getting brought up, but nobody wants to tell him about it because they keep mentioning that place. No, I can't do that yet. Grover, it's our only option. Percy's like, hey, gang, what are you talking about? And no one can just say the words, the Labyrinth, Percy. You know, the Minotaur.
Because everybody knows that Percy will just fucking jump right in. It's like, I fought the Minotaur. The Minotaur who? Am I right, guys?
The Minotaur who? So, okay, here's the thing I want to talk about. Sorry, I know you want to jump to Pan. I want to talk about Nico.
No, you're fine. Oh yeah, let's talk about Nico.
And just
Again, I know Pan's like last one of the last things in the book, so like
I want to talk about Nico and specifically the forced characterization of Nico as creepy, dangerous antagonist. Like Percy gets the Iris message in the middle of the night, has to throw in a drachma because it's the other side didn't pay. So he throws in one and he sees Nico. He's talking to someone Percy can't see, but he knows he's trying to like resurrect Bianca. And this someone that Percy can't see is like, oh, you need to trade like a soul for a soul. And it really freaks Percy out. And then I think he breaks the fountain, right? Because like the skeletons and the ghosts start to get restless and stuff. So he shatters the fountain. He breaks the connection with the sword. Yeah.
He doesn't break the fountain. He just breaks the connection in general. He swipes through the mist.
No, Tyson says that he got mad at the fountain. Because when Annabeth says, hey, you look tired, what happened? And I think...
he got mad at the fountain.
Yeah, and
but
he
that
breaks
doesn't mean
it.
he doesn't break the fountain. The fountain's still fine. Because he uses it like the next night.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does. The next fucking Iris message to comes through at the fountain again.
Oh, so I was wrong. Wait, the next night is when he breaks the fountain. Because the connection just goes out this first time because he runs out of drachmas to pay to keep the call going. But so Percy can tell he's talking to a ghost. Percy doesn't Nico doesn't want to. He's trying to summon Bianca.
Yep.
The ghost is like, oh, I'll offer you like vengeance and stuff, and Nico doesn't seem to want that. And he ultimately says, very well, what you have a plan. He's like, oh, yes, we have to travel many dark roads. We start, the image shimmered, Nico vanished. The woman's voice from the mist said, please deposit 1 drachma for another 5 minutes. But there was no more point, so the connection is broken. I stood in the middle of the cabin, listening to the gurgling of the saltwater fountain and the ocean waves on the outside. Nico was alive. He was trying to bring his sister back from the dead, and I had a feeling I knew what soul he would meant to exchange. Someone who had cheated death. Vengeance. Nico D'Angelo would come looking for me.
Here's the thing, is even like when I was listening to this and reading it, I'm like, yeah, Nico's not a bad kid. He's clearly being manipulated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm like, no, this isn't like, it's, I mean, granted, it's what Percy's seeing, right? And it's what he's going through, and he has his own feelings about the situation, so I don't blame him for thinking, oh, Percy's going to come after me. Mm-hmm. Because, well, last he saw Nico, he was saying he hated him and he wanted him to die. It should have been him, not his sister, shit like that. And I don't blame Percy for thinking that. But yeah, as it not sound like he's being manipulated clearly by this person. And I did think first read, I did think, he's going for Percy's soul, obviously, but that's also doesn't make sense because Percy never actually cheated death.
Never cheated death, right? Yeah.
Never cheated death.
It's also like, it's supposed to seem like, oh, Nico is scary and dangerous. He's like 11 at this stage. I do need us to remember that he is in fact 11 years old. This is really important.
He's a child. He's a very small child.
He's younger than Percy was when he first went to Camp Half-Blood. Let's keep this in mind. But also, and Percy doesn't just think like, oh shit, like Nico's going to try to come. He's not like worried that, oh fuck, Nico's going to get in over his head. He's legitimately worried Nico's going to try to come and kill him, as if Nico could kill Percy. And that's just where I'm like,
we don't know what Nico's capable of at this point.
I'm not saying yes, fair, but it's like now Percy sees Nico as someone who is scary and dangerous. And this is just a thing that can, and we have later references of the book when he's around him and he finds Nico creepy. And this continues throughout. I know we usually don't do this, but throughout the series, Rick Riordan really, really wants us to like view Nico scary and dangerous because he's a child of Hades and he can do the death skeleton thing. And it's unnatural. Here's my argument.
And then he does, and it is unnatural, Darien. And he does these kinds of things. He ghostified somebody. Is that not scary and dangerous, Darien?
DJ, I'm not saying him ghostifying that guy wasn't scary. That is scary. But here's the thing. He does that way later. No one has seen him do this yet. The ghost thing, he's just summoning and controlling ghosts. Like Percy summons and controls water and the ocean. I would actually argue that being able to like work with dead spirits, human spirits, is more inherently natural than being able to control the elements. There is nothing in humanity that should be able to connect like that. Whereas I'm a human soul. I can resonate and speak to other human souls. And I speak and control this language. I would argue
Yeah,
that
but
what
it's
Nico's
scary.
doing is actually way more natural than fucking Percy making hurricanes. But no one thinks Percy's inherently
Yeah,
creepy.
but he hasn't made a hurricane yet, Darien. He hasn't turned himself into a storm yet, Darien.
We brought some really weird energy to this first episode. I think we need to course correct. Let's course correct. Okay. We cannot get into yet another argument. It's too much. It's too hot. You're in the garage. It's 100 degrees. My AC's not running. We're both dying. I think this is where we're at. It's just, so listeners, we apologize. Fuck, it's hot outside. We have a national heat advisory warning as we're recording this, and I want to die.
Yeah, it is it's the past 3 days have been over 100. It's been rough. And I
it
don't want to
doesn't
hear you guys down in the further desert of whatever you want to say
Phoenix.
you are. Phoenix,
I'm saying it's hot
Australia
everywhere.
right now, but yeah, it's hot everywhere. And I know it can be hotter at some places, like 102. I deal with 120 on the daily. I don't care.
Move. You should move if you can.
Leave. Get the fuck out of that area. That area is actively trying to kill you.
Speaking of things that are actively trying to kill them, the Labyrinth.
The Labyrinth.
So what do you, right, I almost asked what do you think about the Labyrinth. We are going to do a Labyrinth episode this season, so that's not what this episode is about. Right. This episode is about, so the Labyrinth is essentially, it's not just a big old hedge maze, right? It's a living entity. It just exists to fuck with you. Yeah. So Annabeth really, really wants to try to logically, Annabeth gets a quest. We should talk about it. It's Annabeth's first quest. She's been waiting since she was 7.
Yeah, she got her quest finally.
Proper quest.
She's not super stoked about it.
Yep. She she gets a prophecy that really freaks her out. She's clearly hiding one of the verses.
Clearly.
Percy goes to try to talk to her and she ends up just almost breaking down in tears, but just holding open her arms for a hug, and Percy goes in a hug, and it's very good. It's a very good moment. Just this comfort.
Sorry, I was looking for the prophecy.
No, yeah, I was
there it is. It's very good.
Yeah, do you wanna read the first part and then just skip the part that
leave out the last line?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, we shall delve in the darkness of the endless maze, or you shall delve in the darkness of the endless maze, the dead, the traitor, and the lost one raise. You shall rise or fall by the ghost king's hand, the child of Athena's final stand. Destroy with the hero's final breath, and then, I don't know, something or other that has to do with death.
Yeah, because Percy asked her, because she says that was it, and Percy's like, that's supposed to end with a rhyme, and he asked her, did it end with death? And that's when they hug. And it's very sweet, and obviously she's really, really scared of whatever it means. And so she ultimately requests, okay, who's going to go with her? And she's like, I need Percy, I need Grover, and I need Tyson.
Yeah.
And Chiron is like, whoa, Annabeth, it can only be 3. You know the ancient laws. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Here's the thing.
What?
It's like rule of 3 is like, especially in the situation of heroes traveling together, I don't actually remember there ever being 3 heroes in a Greek legend traveling together.
Ask. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure you're either flying solo and you occasionally have some help from someone here or there, or you get your whole crew killed. Or you're the Argonauts, and there's like 12 of them.
Are there 12 Argonauts? I thought it was 7.
I actually don't know. I just named a number. We will get to the Argonauts.
There are definitely more than 3.
There's more than 3. So if you actually were like trying to go the ancient laws and the most famous quest involving multiple ones, you would have like a whole team, like a whole cabin. All of cabin like 12 is going. But she's adamant, so they go. And she's gonna I've studied the lab. Oh, Clarice. We should just mention Clarice in passing because it's just an interesting C plot that's going on. Interesting. We find out this is where Clarice was last winter when her mysterious mystery mission. She was exploring the labyrinth, and she's like, "I'm never going back in there." Like one of the Stoll twins tried to make fun of her, and she's like, "That terrifies me. I'm never going back in there."
Yeah.
Which fair. Percy finds out that Clarice is taking care of a guy whose name is escaping me. Chris Rodriguez, who was a demigod that Percy met in his first year at Camp Half-Blood, who has since defected and went to work for Kronos, and he appeared near Clarissa's house. I think she lives in New Mexico, if I remember correctly. Just super not good mentally because he's been wandering the labyrinth. So
he
rough.
actually went genuinely mad.
Yes, like genuinely, absolutely saw some horrible stuff and is completely not in his right headspace at all. And so Clarissa's trying to help this guy. Basically, we get the sense that these two have a relationship, probably had one before Chris took off, but
it's hard to say sometimes.
We'll put a pin in that. I'm just going to put my thoughts, put a pin. We'll circle back to that next season. So they go to the Labyrinth. Annabeth is like, I'm going to tackle this logically. And Labyrinth says, fuck you. Obviously.
It's like, you're not going to tackle it logically.
Like, it just literally exists to fuck with them.
Yep. First plan of going into the Labyrinth. Hold a hand on left wall. Left wall decides to disappear. Gone. Just completely gone. No
completely
left wall
gone. At one point, they do... they get up at Alcatraz. And they meet one of Tyson's heroes.
Yep,
one of the 100-handed ones.
Or the 100-handed ones. That's what
100-handed ones was cast into Tartarus, but helped the gods win the war, so it's cool. But this last guy, Briersy?
Borealis.
I don't think it's Borealis. I really don't think it's Borealis.
It's not. It's like Boreas or something like that. Boreas.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't want to say forgettable, but I definitely forgot about him until literally we were at Alcatraz, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. They help him escape.
I thought it was funny when Percy decided to pull out gun in rock, paper,
during
scissors.
the game of
that
rock,
was really goofy. That was really funny.
Because he's like,
I
hey,
thought it was hilarious.
We'll play rock, paper, scissors. If I win, you have to come with us. Because he doesn't want to escape because he's terrified of the monster jailer. And he's like, well, I always win because he's got 100 hands. So all of his hands are doing rock or paper or scissors. And Percy's like, gun. And I'm like, wow.
Such a 14-year-old thing to do.
That's such a 14-year-old thing to do. Wow, this book came out in 2008.
Yeah. So goofy.
It's so goofy. Percy does some crazy shit at a ranch. Actually, I do love this.
He does. The ranch is fun.
The ranch is fun. So they end up on Triple G Ranch, which is this guy with like 3 torsos, 1 head, runs the ranch. It's a child of Ares, older. Another demigod. Here's another, but he's not like an old demigod a la grown up. He's an immortal guy. He was given immortality, so he doesn't count.
Yeah, and he's not happy about his immortality.
He's not happy about the guy he works for. He said
his biggest mistake was accepting immortality from his father.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
He wish he had died.
Yeah, I mean, when you're stuck working for this asshole,
true.
He ends up. Fucking Hera! Hold on.
Oh yeah,
we should talk about Hera.
She shows up. I don't like.
So Hera shows up, and this is. Oh God, no! We'll talk about.
It's difficult because there's a lot.
So much happens. Don't want to ramble, but also Hera's a bitch.
Yes.
Derogatory. So this is important. So Hera shows up because Janice shows up first and tries to taunt Annabeth, being like, you have to make a choice. And Hera shows up and shoos him away and is like, oh, I'll offer you passage and ask me any question, I can help you. I just want to protect my family. And so I was like, how do I get through the maze? And she's like, oh, you already know that. Percy knows it. And then she just leaves.
Cringe.
It's so cringe.
Like, oh, Percy knows it. Clearly not. Like he might have the puzzle pieces, but that doesn't mean you know something.
He doesn't even know he has a puzzle piece. He's no idea.
Literally.
So when later on they get to the ranch and they've been told like, oh, someone's paid passage for you to come through safely, but not Nico. And so Percy basically is like, okay, how about I do you a favor and then you let Nico come with us. And Nico's like, fuck off. Absolutely not. Nah, fuck you. I hate you. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You're 12. 11.
Shut up. You get no choice in this matter.
So essentially, he's got to go clean the stables of the flesh-eating horses. This is trials of labors of Hercules. We've discussed this with Robert many moons ago. Percy does it, but he's first going to use the stream nearby like Hercules did, but he meets the naiad who lives in the stream, and she's like trying to protect it, but you can tell she's
having it. It's like, absolutely not. You're not doing this.
it'll make me sick. Getting all of like this feces in my water makes me sick. But he can also tell like, oh, I could bully her into letting me do this, and that sucks. And she's scared of me. So he's like, all right, I won't. You win. But she's like, hey, listen, look, see the earth in my hand on the thing? It's got seashells. This whole place used to be full of water. Water is in you. So just think about that. And dips. And essentially Percy's like, this is so cool. It is this really cool, like, writing moment. I just want to talk about, like, writing and character development for a second. The moment of Percy tapping into his powers, like, throwing the seashell and being able to summon just, like, salt water from this is very cool.
Yes.
And he just kind of feels this, like, tug and is starting to really connect with what he's capable of doing. You don't have to be near water to call upon it. So he does this. He cleans the stables, goes back. They've been betrayed. They've been double-crossed. They've been hoodwinked. What's-his-face is going to send them all.
You didn't make him swear the river Styx, so it's not binding.
Exactly. That's the whole fucking thing. So Percy's got to fight this guy, but he's got 3 torsos. He's got 3 hearts. So, he can't kill him. So Percy's like, gets a bow and arrow, and he's like, well, if I shoot through, I don't. But Percy's not good at archery at all. This is not this gentleman's
forte. Everybody knows he's not good at archery.
Mm-hmm. But he's got something that this asshole doesn't know about. Artemis and Apollo owe him a favor.
Artemis and Apollo really like Percy.
They do. He also kind of owes them a favor.
Oh, 100%.
Or they wouldn't say it. But so basically he prays to Artemis and Apollo to make this work. And
okay, help me out with this one shot. I'm like, all right, here you go. That's thank you for saving my sister. Here you go, bud.
Yeah, pursues it perfectly. Does it technically, like, Artemis has already like fulfilled her thing by like speaking it for Percy at that thing when he was like, we should kill him, and she's like, no, you won't. But
absolutely not.
I do think the only reason that they listened to him in this moment and they helped him make this perfect shot is kind of because like he did them a solid in the last book. So like now we're even. Never bring it up again.
Yeah.
So then Bianca shows up for a little bit. That's right. Yeah. He's trying to get Nico to come with him, listen to him, and Nico doesn't want to. They're like, okay, well, let's talk to Bianca. And Nico's been trying to summon her, and he's like, why? She won't come. He's like, I think she'll talk to me. And Nico's like, why do you think that? Because she's been calling me.
She's been trying to talk to me.
Yeah. He realizes that's the reason. Oh, Theseus. We saw Theseus in one of these things. Nico summoned Theseus, and he mentioned, like, how do I get through the labyrinth? And he's like, oh, I don't need... It wasn't just the string. It was having, like, the mortal princess, having the girl.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a fun tool we'll use later.
And then Theseus hinted at that he knew who the ghost was.
Yes, also that. So we get Bianca, and she's Ghost Bianca, and she basically confirms, like, yeah, Nico, I haven't been answering your calls. You need to let me go.
Because I was hoping you'd give up.
You have to, I was hoping you'd give up, because, like, holding grudges is, like, that's the fatal flaw for children of Hades. They hold grudges, and then they're self-destructive. And she didn't want to see that happen to him, and she tells Percy, hey, man, it's not your fault. I made my choice. You need to forget. You're not the one who cheated death. Like, right? Basically, it's like you didn't. Yeah. You should not have died. It's not that Nico you should have died instead of me.
It's not Percy's
soul.
Oh
yeah, why would I want your soul? It's not worth anything
why would
to
I want
me.
Your soul. She's like, Bianca's soul is worth 1,000 of yours.
Yeah. Poor Nico.
Cute,
so yeah, it's kind
true.
of. Well, for Nico, it is. So it does kind of have this heart to heart, and Nico, like, clearly. Also, they're like, hey. Stop talking to I think they know at this point it's King Minos. And they're like, stop talking to this ghost. He's clearly an asshole. And he's like, I haven't seen him in a couple days anyway. So. But Nico decides to stay at the ranch. He's got to do some thinking. They're like, all right, keep him safe here. They go off. Annabeth pisses off a Sphinx, but I'm just going to save that whole thing for when we do the Sphinx episode.
That's very
so good. But around this same time, there's this whole thing where it's brought up that Athena's a maiden goddess. And Percy's over here like, I'd never heard that before. Percy, Mr. pulled Procrusteus out of his ass in L.A.
I know, right? It's kind of goofy.
had somehow never heard that Athena's a maiden goddess. And we're like 4 books in, and this is the first time that we get explained, okay, so how does Athena, famously a maiden goddess, famously one of the 3 maiden goddesses, have all these kids running around? The answer, well, also, Chiron, what the fuck? What are you teaching? In your, what kind of fucking... Battle. I mean, when he was Mr. Burner.
He was teaching battle. Didn't you know?
He was teaching Procrusteus, but not Athena's a maiden goddess.
Yeah. The big things you don't need to know. The big common sense things... One of those,
you know what?
Really
That's actually a good point.
Right?
That's actually a good point. Like, you should already know this. This is surface level shit. I'm gonna teach you the deep
You come across
cuts.
this dude who's like real hospitable to you and like wants to get you on a bed and starts stretching you. You got to know his name and how to get out of the situation.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. It's like, Percy, you should know this. Most people who know any sliver of Greek mythology know Athena's a maiden goddess.
Yeah.
This is where we get the whole like, oh, the children of Athena are gifts to the men she favors. The line does say men specifically, but this book was written in 2008, and Athena has definitely had children with women before. Abso-fucking-lutely. I do not believe she has not had like that brain. If it's a holy like meeting of the minds.
I mean, probably right, but they haven't said it yet.
Apollo has, okay, Trials of Apollo shit, is confirmed that, like, no, gods can have kids with whoever, so don't worry about it.
Was that confirmed? Did he say that? Fucking when?
In the first Trials of Apollo book, Kayla's mortal parent is a archer. Her other father, is what Apollo says, like,
okay.
Yeah, gods.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't catch that. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So, very much, like, I think... If we had a book written out, the line would probably be with the mortal she favors, not just the men, because it was 2008. But definitely there were some kids in Athena cabin who have like a mortal mom.
Yeah.
So, fuck. I'm trying to rush us to Pan for you, DJ. And there's just
there's so much that fucking. The reason this book is
this is going to be our longest season.
It's going to be our longest season. It's the biggest book out of the series, at least like Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Like, it's goofy. So, like, we just got, this is just going to be a long introduction episode, everybody.
Yep. I know we're not really digging, I don't want it to be so surface level, but we're going to deep dive into a lot of this shit, like, actually in our episodes. So this is just getting to talk about, like, what we liked. I guess let's just talk about what we liked with the story. Like, I'm feeling obligated to hit these plot points, but, like, Percy and Annabeth kiss for the first time.
It was great.
That's cool.
It was a lot of fun. It's very cute.
Yeah, they meet up. Yeah, they find Hephaestus, and Hephaestus sends them to go figure out who's doing shit in his one of his old kilns in Mount St. Helens, and then it's these beasts, and Percy's like, I'll take care of it. And Annabeth is like, I'm worried, so she kisses him, and it's like, oh, okay, like that's big. This book is really establishing the romance between Percy and Annabeth. We know the first 2, they've like have this friend and this connection and this trust for each other. The last 2 have been really like building towards and there's this like bond they have together. They care about and love each other, and this love has like a romantic component to it.
Percy literally carrying the sky for Annabeth.
Literally carried the sky for Annabeth.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's very good. So it kisses Percy, and then this is where we see another element of Percy's powers. But this time things go kind of wrong because it also demonstrates that Percy, you can lose control. As you said, DJ, Mount St. Helens. I don't think it's weird because Mount St. Helens famously exploded, but this is not that.
Are you sure? Because it said it like spread ash into the stratosphere and spread ash all over, like a fucking ton of people evacuated.
Yeah. But DJ, do you know when Mount St. Helens exploded?
It exploded a fucking while ago, but the way they were hinting at it is like this place hasn't exploded yet.
Yeah, and that is very interesting because Mount St. Helens exploded at 8:32 a.m. on May 18th, 1980.
Yeah, like the way they describe it all is that like this is still a functioning forge for Hephaestus,
it is. I mean, also the volcano still has the potential to erupt again. It's a volcano, and it's not dormant.
It's kind of wild.
Volcanoes are terrifying. I'm constantly afraid of volcanoes.
Yeah.
Super volcanoes, I don't want to think about it. If I think about it, I won't be able to sleep. I don't want to test this new antidepressants I'm on and see if it triggers if I start to think about one of my most existential fears, which is the Yellowstone super volcano. So you're right. Yeah, that's not something we're going to talk about later. So let's talk about that for a second right now. Just the fact that it does read as if like he blew up
It reads
Mount
as
St.
though
Helens.
he fucking caused the Mount St. Helen eruption.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, that happened 28 years prior.
So much longer. I'm flipping. Hold on. I don't want to talk when I'm flipping. Yeah, so, and then Percy doesn't find out about this later when he ends up in Ogygia with Calypso and Hephaestus shows up. He shows him a telephone, a TV screen. He shows him like news footage of Mount St. Helens, a huge plume of fire and ash trailing into the sky. Still uncertain about further eruptions, the newscaster was saying, authorities have ordered the evacuation of almost 500,000 people as a precaution. Meanwhile, ash has fallen as far away as Lake Tahoe and Vancouver, and the entire Mount St. Helens area is closed to traffic within a 100-mile radius. While no deaths have been reported, minor injuries and illnesses include Hephaestus switched it off. You caused quite an explosion.
Yeah, it's literally...
So we know it's not the Mount St. Helens explosion because in that explosion, 57 people did die.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But this was also shortly after they haven't found all the bodies yet.
Well, okay. I think essentially, like Rick and Queen,
we cannot say that
to show that Percy didn't kill anybody. Like Percy didn't kill anybody. That was important.
Yeah, I know.
But like,
it definitely.
It's shockingly lucky that Percy didn't kill anybody by blowing up.
This was a fucking volcano.
It's a volcano. So, yeah, I'm glad we talk about it just a little bit because it is kind of wild. But I guess like. Famous, like, let's send him to a volcano and show, like, but Percy's also the son of the Earth Shaker. Like, Poseidon's not just the god of ocean, he's also the god of earthquakes. Yeah. And that tectonic plate movement is what causes volcanoes to get all volcano-y.
Wild thing is they never even talk about this ability of Percy's again. And
then we don't come back to this.
Like, this is, like, he has the power to shake the earth. And if we only stick to hurricanes and water.
It is bizarre. It almost feels like how...
Maybe he's got to be closer, like the closer he is to fault lines and places where like it's weaker, the stronger his powers of that specific type become.
Probably. Or it's like...
reacted in the Mount St. Helens.
That makes sense. It also feels like, you know how Jason can fly but Talia can't? No. Maybe it's because she never tried, she's afraid of heights. It could also be that sometimes, like, the children get different I guess maybe the kids of Apollo would be a better example of this.
Right? He used this power. This is not a power that it's like, oh, he just didn't get it. He clearly used it to blow up St. Helens.
That's a good point. I was saying that if it was another, like, Poseidon kid, maybe they have more of an Earth Shaker thing, but there's not. So, yeah, you're right. It never comes up.
If we get another Poseidon kid and he's fucking got, like, tremor abilities.
Yeah. I mean, that would not work at this stage, but that's very interesting. If we get, like, a series set, like, pre-World War II. I'm not saying I want a whole series. One book, but it's set in this version of, like, ancient Greece with all the heroes running around. Yeah. That would be interesting. A lot of different, like, children. Anyway, not what this episode is about. We should do that at some point in time. Like, do an episode about, like, just fun. That'd be a fun bonus episode. Would you guys like to listen to that? Let us know. Tell us about that. So he's on Ogygia at this point because the eruption throws him to Ogygia somehow. But I'm also just going to hold off on that because our Calypso episode is going to be like, to say I'm going to go feral is an understatement, gang. I'm going to warn you right now. I cannot apologize enough for the person I will become when we talk about Calypso. So, do you want to talk about Percy crashing his own funeral?
Dude, that scene is so fucking funny to me.
So fucking funny. Oh, it is very good. So as you said, like Percy's on Ogygia for a really long time. In real time, we're playing with like Sea of Monsters rules again. In real time, it's been 2 weeks, which is a really long time for someone who you last saw causing a volcano to explode. So like, Percy's dead.
Literally coming in as Chiron's like, we should assume he's dead. Oh.
Yep. So they're doing his funeral. They've got the shroud, and they're gonna burn it. Assume he is dead, Chiron said. After so long a silence, it is unlikely our prayers will be answered. I've asked his best surviving friend to do the final honors. Best surviving is interesting. It's because, as you said, Tyson and Groven were Tyson and Grover separated from them in the maze. And
they haven't found him yet.
Otherwise, would it have been Grover as the best friend and then Tyson as the brother? Yeah. So Annabeth is literally third on the list, but the other two are not present.
Well, here's the thing, right? On the outside, yeah, they're friends, but they're not that close. If you really if you look at their relationship, it seems like they're got contention between the two. But really, it's just romantic tension. That's not
an unfair read. So Annabeth, I came up on the back of the amphitheater. Nobody noticed me. They were all looking forward, watching as Annabeth took a long green silk burial cloth embroidered with a triton and set it on the flames. They were burning my shroud. Annabeth turned to face the audience. She looked terrible. Her eyes were puffy from crying, but she managed to say, "He was probably the bravest friend I've ever had. And then she saw me. Her face went blood red. "He's right there!" Heads turned. People gasped. "Percy!" Beckendorf grinned. Beckendorf.
Love Beckendorf.
I heard a few curses of the Ares cabin, but Clarice just rolled her eyes like she couldn't believe I had the nerve to survive. And "Where have you been? I thought you were dead, seaweed brain." "Sorry." I said, "I got lost." "Lost? 2 weeks, Percy? Where in the world?"
I got lost for 2 weeks? Sorry.
Yeah. Percy does not tell them about being on Ogygia with Calypso, but it's implied that, Chiron definitely knows, and Annabeth definitely knows, because where else would he fucking be?
Literally, where else would he be for 2 weeks, and him not wanting to say, and, a mix.
At this point, Percy has figured, it's really hard, but where were you for 2 weeks? "I don't know." You look great for someone who last saw blowing up a volcano.
Yeah, right. It's your clothes are mended, bro. What the
You're wearing
fuck?
A different outfit.
This is great, material and craftsmanship. Who could have done this for you in 2 weeks?
So at this point, Percy has realized O'Hara was not lying. He does actually know how they need to get through the labyrinth.
But he had to. Here's the thing, right? He knew how to get through the labyrinth, but he didn't.
He didn't know.
He didn't know that somebody who could see through the mist can see the path in the fucking labyrinth. Not until literally Hephaestus said,
Hephaestus Voldemort? Vulcan. Okay, that makes so much more sense. No, that makes so much more sense. I just
even fucking Hephaestus is Hephaestus straight up is Theseus had the help of that Ariadne princess chick who could see through the mist. That's what they meant. That I didn't know. No, you didn't. You knew of a person who had this, and you didn't know that she could see a path in the fucking. That's not the same as knowing.
Yeah, which I think is fair, even though she can see things, and also Percy sometimes can't see him. I don't think anyone would have even Annabeth, who was aware that there was this mortal who had not made that connection. That's not an obvious connection.
It's not an obvious connection.
Though he had seen the Theseus vision at the time, in which Theseus said that the princess had helped him. So
he says I
the
had
mortal
the help of
princess
a princess
specifically,
but
mortal. He classified she was mortal.
But that doesn't mean that he knows that Ariadne could see through the mist.
True, but I think you can go
mortals can have other uses, right?
It's enough that you can make a wild leap.
Yeah,
and be let's try it.
That's a blind fucking jump with putting a mortal girl at danger.
True. Puts her in danger. Annabeth hates it. Percy, that's crazy. And then Chiron says a thing that makes me really uncomfortable. And this is just a Rick Riordan thing. And let's talk about it. Chiron sat in his wheelchair and stroked his beard. There is precedent, however. Theseus had help of Ariadne. Harriet Tubman, daughter of Hermes, used many mortals on her underground railroad for this reason. Hey,
you could have just said that Harriet Tubman could see through the mist.
Yes, right? I feel like that's the actual answer, is just she could do it.
She could just see through the mist. Let's not. Hermes here.
Fuck. It's so uncomfortable. And so Harriet Tubman, who was an enslaved woman who escaped, whose mother would have been an enslaved woman, who in this story had a relationship with Hermes, who then just left her in slavery. Big fucking yikes.
It's the gods. They've been alive for thousands of years.
Okay, but also the writing. I also we both agree that you could have just had Harriet Tubman.
You could have just had it like that. This is the Hermes thing is they're the gods. They lived through slavery through hundreds of countries, right? That's not a whoa. But the writing is fucking strange. Just have her be an exceptional mortal. How about that?
Right, like that's the thing. It's like everyone exceptional has to be Greek in nature, which is pretty Eurocentric.
Which is also weird because it goes against what like fucking all these other like Rachel Elizabeth Dare has no ties to Greek. She can see through the mist.
Yeah,
and if this happened to be the Norse book, she could see through the glamour. And I don't know what the Egyptians
She actually
call
can.
It, yeah.
Oh, they call it the Mott. Oh, yeah.
Mott. Yeah, it's just a blanket magic across all of them.
It's just all the magic. And that's very interesting. But yes, I think we could have just had like Harriet Tubman was able to use. But here's the thing. If he knew that Harriet Tubman, okay, I can't do this, but like it could have just been like, yeah, she used the parts of the Underground Railroad were elements of the Labyrinth, and that's why.
Like that is an interesting.
I think that's okay. I'm a little bit better with that as long as she does it herself. Yeah. Then
that's cool world
the God
building.
thing, but also, yeah. To the throwback, I think some of this has been retconned in the way things are explained in Trials of Apollo, where Apollo will try, like the one particular encounter he has with Ella, where he tries to take credit for a song, and Ella is like, "Oh yeah, I inspired the writer," and she's like, "No, you didn't," and she says when it was written, how it was written. I think that obviously is a retcon, but it's a retcon I like because I think it's kind of undoing some of this uncomfortable world establishment that means everyone has to be connected to Greek, where it changes it to sometimes Greek gods have taken credit for things that they had nothing to do with. For example, Harriet Tubman wasn't really a daughter of Hermes. Hermes just took credit for her incredible actions, as they would do. And that vibe's a little better with me. That doesn't make up for this, but okay, we just needed to, and now we can move on. Fuck. So
wild.
So the plan. If we haven't outlined it, which DJ mentioned earlier, Rachel can see through the mist. Rachel will get us through. It did take me till page 279 to recognize that Rachel is supposed to be a modern Ariadne. Like, not in just she is a mortal who can see through the mist. Her father's essentially a king.
Okay.
Ariadne was the daughter. She's a princess. She's the daughter of Minos, a very powerful, very corrupt man who caused a lot of harm. Her father is a real estate developer who buys up land and destroys natural places, essentially, right? He's a corrupt billionaire. And she doesn't like what her father does and wants to try to do better. So she uses her wealth and resources to get them through this. So she's literally supposed to be like, that's the reason she's like, because we also find out like, oh yeah, she's super rich. She literally, like, they get out of the labyrinth at one point in time and they're still running and they need a ride. So she goes up to a town car and they don't know what she says, but somehow this town car who had another client lets the client know, I'm so sorry, I've made another contact and the other car will come pick you up. But like, she gets priority instantly.
Yeah.
Because she's basically rolled up and said, I'm trying to think of, like, I don't know, if fucking Tesla, what's his face? This kid was old enough to do this and walked up and was like, oh, I'm the daughter of his name's not Tesla. What is that man's name?
Elon Musk.
Thank you. Like I'm the daughter of Elon Musk. Yes, Miss Musk, right away. Let me get you like, that's basically the level
I'm the daughter
of
Tesla. Please give me a Tesla.
Yes. I couldn't remember. Good for me. So the I've definitely seen some takes where people don't like Rachel because they think like, oh, she's just used her privilege. And it's like, yeah, but she used her privilege that she hasn't earned, but she uses it to help other people in this time. Yes, she inconvenienced another rich white person. Why are we angry?
Literally,
great. Use your privilege to try to you have it.
Use your privilege to save the world. How about that? Like, that's what she
how about
did?
That?
Like, what?
And that's what she did. And it works for me. So she gets them through. They get back in their maze. They find... Oh, yeah, Nico. Oh, right, because this... Oh, God, Daedalus. Oh, God, okay. Nico got captured.
Yep, because he decided to go back into it because Minos was telling him, like, hey, Percy's in trouble. Gotta go save him.
So Nico gets captured. They gotta save Nico again. Percy battles, as we said, this is cover, whatever. I'm just trying to get us A to Z so no one's confused if you didn't read the book, which you probably should. If we're listening to this, what are you doing? Daedalus is Quintus. Quintus is Daedalus. Quintus, Daedalus. Percy was also having dreams about Daedalus. We'll get to that. Fuck it. I can't do this
Percy was having dreams about Daedalus, and Daedalus had built the labyrinth. He had built the wings. We saw Icarus happen, and he regretted that. And then we saw... What the fuck was his nephew's name? Parenthus?
Something. Hold on, it's in my notes, actually.
It's something that starts with a P.
Yes, I didn't make my notes. Sorry, dude, you're not that important.
Well, Parenthus is what we're going to call him, because it sounds right. He kills Parenthus by like tossing him something, saying, "Hey, catch." Parenthus catches it, but then ends up falling out the window because of it. And Daedalus doesn't do anything for it. And so then he gets branded by Athena, the murderer's mark.
Yeah.
And so...
And then the kid was turned into a bird.
Yeah, true. And the kid also had the idea to put their soul into an automaton.
Yeah, because he's also like... Because Daedalus is a child of Athena.
Son of Athena.
The kid's not.
Was he not?
But he had Athena's blessing. He was favored by Athena, but not because that's what.
Here's like the thing with Athena in this book, right? It seemed like Athena was starting to cross over into Hephaestus' territory, specifically with Daedalus. Because how I view Athena is not as an inventor; I view them as design rather than invention.
That's not unfair. I just think in the lore. Like, I think Daedalus is a son of Athena.
I get that, right? And it's just like, but then it's like, the Labyrinth, that's something that is architectural, and it's already laid the groundwork of, that's Athena's place. But then it's like the automatons. Too.
Automaton, yeah.
Those are specifically like, those were specifically like Hephaestus' thing. And then...
But I would say that the developing advanced theory... Like, the theory of putting a human soul in an automaton does fall back into that, like, circuitous logic of Athena.
I guess.
It's a little bit more, like, philosophical, like, could we do this? It's almost as if they overlap a whole lot.
Yeah. Because then it's like we see, Hephaestus just doing other shit, and he's like, those automatons are impressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. Just the way they like talked about it, it just felt a little strange. It's like it seems like they're kind of intermixing some of Athena's ideas and some of Hephaestus' ideas here.
Do we need to talk about Ethan Nakamura?
I guess he's important.
This episode is long.
Here's the thing about Ethan, right? Yeah, the episode's long. It's a starter episode.
It always is. Yeah, these are always
long, and this just happens to be also the longest book. Ethan Nakamura was a camper. He's the son of Nemesis.
He's got an eye patch.
He's got an eye patch because his mom took his eye.
Eye for it? Because he got wisdom? I don't know. It's really weird.
So he decides to join with Luke and his crew. Now here's the thing, right, is that Percy finds him and fights him in this, like, I don't know, gladiatorial-esque thing. And he spares his life and saves him, and Ethan runs off. But then he comes back to Luke and his gang with, I guess it was Backbiter that he managed to snag from Mount St. Helens or something. I don't know.
No. Oh, right, because the telekinets, the little creatures who were using Mount St. Helens, they had created a weapon.
Yeah, they were creating a weapon out of
snagged
Backbiter
it. I think
for a scythe.
Yeah. Yes, when Ethan has it, I don't think he snagged it. I think it's just he has to present it as because basically we know that they want a certain amount of demigods. It's kind of been hinted at that they were trying to build the army, and we assume it's just because army. Yeah, they need one more to swear fealty, and they were afraid it was going to be Nico. Like Percy and the gang were scared that it would be Nico, but it turns out to be Ethan, and because they're standing over this big golden coffin, and Percy's like, "What the fuck?" He opens it up.
And then kind of just like fucks off.
Kind of fucks off, yeah. Luke is inside. Luke is inside the coffin.
Inside the coffin. He comes out.
Also Luke, who somehow survived getting kicked off a mountain. Who looks great now. Percy mentions a couple times that Luke looks really good. Like, way better than the last time he saw him.
Yeah.
Because in the last book, Luke was looking rough.
Last time he saw Luke he was a mangled body on the ground.
Right, but all through Titan's Curse, we're hearing that Luke is looking like really pretty rough. Looking pretty gaunt. Like, the stress is starting to get to him. And this one, he just looks great again. Like, totally refreshed. Like, he spent 2 weeks on Ogygia.
Yeah, right.
And then it's
It's wild.
Ethan swears... And Kronos is finally able to return in Luke's body.
Yeah, and they want to hold Daedalus essentially hostage so that he would make Kronos a body.
Mm-hmm. But that didn't work out. But they have the string. They find out he's got the string. Kronos chases Percy and is able to manipulate time because he's a titan of time. We are going to talk about this eventually.
He is the time god. Like, he's
essentially a time god, yeah.
The master of time.
So, this book has two several iconic, but two visually, for me, iconic Percy Jackson moments. Earlier, when Nico uses fucking Happy Meals to summon the dead, because he's got to give them food and sustenance.
Fucking classic,
great.
Dude. I can easily see him tossing that shit and pouring the soda in there. Like, I absolutely can't
him
see
in
that.
his little bomber jacket with the old school red Happy Meal with the arches. I don't even know if those Happy Meals were still being done in the Red in 2008. I think they switched to just doing the paper bags. They switched back. They did there was a period of time where they weren't.
I'm pretty sure he said that it was a paper bag in that. Well, in that scene.
In fan art, it's always the red box
because it's a Happy Meal, and that's what it is. And I think he said, because I remember like expecting him to describe the red box, but he doesn't. He says paper bag with cartoon drawings on it.
Yeah, red box. You're right. I didn't catch that. It isn't the paper bag. But in fan art, it's always the red box. And the second one, it's a Happy Meal. And then the second moment when Percy is running from Kronos because he's fuck. I am out of my depth here. Can't do anything about this. And Kronos is going to catch him and then gets beamed in the eye by a plastic blue hairbrush.
Classic.
Because it's just because it's the only thing Rachel had, and she just chucks it at this. You're the asshole from the wrestling match. Fuck you. Hits him in the eye long enough that it because all of a sudden Luke's eyes were like glowing. They were golden.
Yeah.
And then for that moment, they go back to I think they're blue. I don't remember. Whatever. I don't care. They go back. He's like, it jars him just enough that Kronos isn't in complete control.
Maybe Kronos wasn't used to feeling that kind of pain. It's like, oh, your human bodies feel pain in such fucking weird ways. I don't like this. Get me that automaton. Or just
surprised him. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
I was not prepared.
Get me that automaton as fast as possible. I don't like this pain thing.
So, and Rachel's just like, hey, yeah, saved you. You saved me from that last thing, so I guess we're even. All right. And this scene really should be considered more iconic. And I know it is, but also I should see way more fan art of it. And I'm pretty sure the reason I don't is because the fandom just unjustifiably hates Rachel. And you all need to get with it. It's
She's
2022.
Fun.
She's great.
You get to see more of her throughout Trials of Apollo, and she's just great. She's struggling
so
because she doesn't have Apollo's blessing anymore, and it's freaking her out. And I feel so bad for her.
Yep. I know. I really wish we could have had more time with Rachel. I hope we get. Anyway, I can't right now. So, so they get to Daedalus, and I guess they already did. I don't remember. Oh, they didn't. Anyway, Nico kills King Minos. Minos is like, I'm the Ghost King. They'll listen to me. And Nico's like, no, I am. That's the line from the prophecy.
Ghost King Nico is so. I think that should be more iconic as well. As 11-year-old Nico is saying, I'm the Ghost King.
It's like, Nico, you're 11 and you need a nap.
Years old.
You're 11 and you need a Happy Meal. So they fly out of there. This actually happened before the page thing. I just got confused. But I forgot this thing in my notes where Percy's trying to tell Nico that you can come back to camp with us. And Nico's like, no one, I don't really, do I have friends there? And Percy does not insist that, of course you have friends there. And Nico 100% internalized that shit for the next 4 years.
That was pretty rough.
2 years. Yeah, and it's Percy.
But to be fair, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. He doesn't have friends there. He has acquaintances there. He could have friends there. He chooses not to stay there. And that's what Will tells him. He's like, bro, there are so many people willing to be your friend. The reason they aren't is because it's you. This is on you. Yeah,
and that's a fact. And that's not what Percy says there. Percy doesn't answer because he thinks Nico's creepy.
No, I think Percy doesn't understand it because...
No, it's because he thinks Nico's creepy. Because he's thinking about Nico summoning ghosts and shit. And he's like, oh, maybe you won't have friends.
That's creepy. Weird. Summoning ghosts is inherently creepy, Darien.
No more creepy than making Mount St. Helens erupt.
That's scary. That's an entirely different feeling.
I stand by it.
That's a whole different feeling.
What Percy does is way more unnatural.
It's like the difference between thriller and horror, Darien. All right?
Interesting. And I don't like either of them. So now we're at Pan. Like would you like to take it from here?
I would love to.
We're finally here.
Finally here at Pan. The thing, okay, so they finally regroup with Tyson and Grover's knocked out on the ground.
They're in New Mexico.
They realize they're in New Mexico.
Carlsbad Caverns.
Yeah. And so like an unexplored sect of it. And so they go and they find it and they continue to explore deeper in this portion of it. And it just so happens that Pan is also here in this unexplored sector of these caverns in this like just grove essentially. And it's like it's just this beautiful little area that he's in. And he's like explains to the heroes that he's
surrounded by extinct animals, right? There's a dodo bird.
There's a dodo bird. There's a wolf tiger, probably a couple of other ones I didn't catch. But he just like straight up says like, yeah, I've been dying for the last 2,000 years, but the satyrs have refused to believe that. So they've been keeping me alive. And it's just been prolonging my long and painful death. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's rough.
Really rough,
but here's the thing, right, is that he says that he's dying because the wilds are becoming extinct. But I don't know what he means by the wilds. For the longest time, I didn't register that it's like the wilds. I thought it was nature, right? And I guess that kind of makes sense. But then it's like, there's also still quite a lot of nature out there. There's still more nature than there are processed land. So why would he be dying? And so when it's like, when he says the wilds, what I think when he says wilds is unexplored. The reason he was in this unexplored area of the cavern is because it hasn't been explored yet by humans.
Hasn't been touched by humanity yet.
Yeah. And so it's like, even though we still have like a lot of the Amazon rainforest out there and a lot of like just forest throughout North America just alone, right? Those have been explored quite extensively. They are no longer the wilds. We know what's out there.
But I mean, but even before like Western civil development came through, a lot of those places were, and then also continue to be, home to indigenous cultures.
Yeah, and like that,
the Amazons and stuff. There were many indigenous cultures who live in the and have for ages. So it's
and so that's why I think 2,000 years ago is when he said he was dying, and the satyrs have been prolonging it for 2,000 years. So what happened to? Are we going to say it's Christianity that's going to kill him 2,000? No, I'm not going to get on that train. That's an otherwise, the other gods would also be dying. Like, the other gods would also be dying.
It is fascinating.
If it was Christianity, it's like, oh yeah, this is what's killing the wilds. That makes no fucking sense.
Christianity is not what capitalism kills the wilds.
Well, no, like, again, I don't think it's I think the wilds really is unexplored, untouched.
But what does that mean for like the cultures that live in these places, like that live in?
That means that they've explored it. They've touched it.
It's essentially like untouched by humanity in any form. See that, and that's also weird because like Pan, what the fuck is the point of you?
What's like it's the god of the wilds? What does that mean? What do the wilds mean? They don't say it.
I think we have to save that for the Pan episode.
Yeah, and like that's
because this is a 45-minute conversation.
100%. Like this is, I'm just like, I don't understand as to why. No, I don't get what he means by the wilds. What the fuck does that mean? If you said nature, you had something there, right? Then we could get into like the environmentalist aspect of this. But you didn't. You said wild specifically, and you said that you were dying 2,000 years prior to what's going on today, before we had all this pollution.
Yeah, I would say Industrial Revolution is when Pan. I guess we'll have to see if there's a myth, because he mentions this satyr specifically, who's the one that first told them that Pan had died. We'll dig into that.
Yeah.
Because here's what this is. This is a metaphor for environmentalism, right?
It is, but then he doesn't do it good. If he just said nature and he was dying 200 years prior, like you said, it would have made a lot more sense than 2,000 years prior, and he's the god of the wilds, and the wilds are dying. That doesn't make any sense. The wilds will
you are absolutely right.
But die.
It is a kind of a weird thing. So here's.
Because then Grover goes and takes on the environmentalist aspect of this, right? That's what he goes on to do. He starts pushing clean energy. He starts pushing conservation.
Protecting, yeah.
But
he's
not...
No. Let's put a pin in the Pan thing specifically. Because we're going to get into that Pan episode. I think you're absolutely right. It's fucking wilds in nature. Like, that's something I think we can dig into and really figure out, and I'm excited for that. For Grover... pushing the clean energy. And he lives this lifestyle himself, but we never see Grover spearhead it for anyone else until after Pan is gone. Because what Grover's arc represents is this idea that the younger generation has to recognize that no one is going to save them. That there is no great hero. The Cloven Elders don't believe Grover, and they're doing nothing to protect anybody. Pan is supposed to be the one who's come in and saved the wilds, and he can't. He has no power anymore like he used to. He cannot save them. The younger generation, Grover and the people who will listen to him, they're the only ones who can make a difference, who can change things. And this is Grover's arc where he goes from being like uncertain, frightened, questioning himself all the time, and constantly questioning if he's good enough, constantly questioning if he's capable enough. And in the end, he chooses, yes, no one is going to save us. We have to do it ourselves. And if you won't, and this is later on the Cloven Elders, and they basically are going to banish him. And he's like, I don't care. Fine. But I'm going to do this. And we have to do this. Yeah. If you don't believe me, I don't care. I'm going to keep going. And that's for Grover, for a character growing to learn that you can make a difference. You don't need to wait for a hero or a god. That's a great arc. It just makes me so depressed now. And I've been trying to figure out whether or not I really wanted to talk about this because I think it's too much of a bummer, and I don't want to do that so much on our podcast, but I definitely feel like Grover's arc with Pan and the environmentalism and the younger generation taking on this mantle felt a lot more possible in 2008 than it does in 2022.
Yeah, probably.
Right. And that's rough for me. I think that's why I stopped. That's why I have sometimes feel like annoyed with Grover's arc. And not even that it's bad. I think it was great. And I think it is good and it is strong for this character. And Grover kind of also disappears after this, which is a bummer.
That super bums me out. I like Grover. I like Grover's dynamic. But he shows up to do like a few things every now and again. And then he just kind of fucks off again.
Yeah. Grover in Burning Maze is awesome.
Like, dude. He was
so good.
I loved seeing him in Burning Maze. And the fact that we didn't get him anymore was bumming me out.
I know. We didn't get anybody, so like hopefully more. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to see members of the younger generation try to take up this mantle, try to make a difference, and still be shut down. Because in the end, Grover does get a chance because Dionysus believes him. Dionysus shows up at the end after the battle, after everything with the council. Cloven Elders are going to kick him out. But Dionysus is a council member, and his vote counts for more. But ultimately, it ties. And he's like, hey, yo, one of my sons just died. I don't give a fuck what we do anymore. So the council's disbanded. And that kind of frees Grover and the other satyrs. They're no longer bound by this power structure. They can make a difference, and they can go on. And the real world, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So it bums me the fuck out. I try not to think about it too much, but it really bums me the fuck out.
Yeah, I get that.
So
next we got the battle. The battle comes next, right?
I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
Battle comes next, right? That's what next.
Yes. Yes, they get out. Can we talk about how Pan acknowledges everybody except for, like, gives everybody words of encouragement except for Nico?
Was Nico there?
Yes! Yes, he's there. Like, Nico's there. Everyone is there.
Here's the thing, right? Nico hasn't done anything.
No, here's the thing.
Nico hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't proven himself in many ways. He's barely getting his power under control.
Yo, no. I'm gonna read this passage to you. I'm gonna read this This isn't gonna come up later. This is for now. Pan. Okay, so he's talking about how you all must take up. Pan looked at me with his clear blue eyes, and I realized he wasn't just talking about the satyrs. He meant half-bloods too, and humans, everyone. Percy Jackson, the god, said, "I know what you have seen today. I know your doubts, but I give you this news. When the time comes, you will not be ruled by fear." He turned to Annabeth. "Daughter of Athena, your time is coming. You will play a great role, though it may not be the role you imagined." Then he looked at Tyson. "Master Cyclops, do not despair. Heroes rarely live up to our expectations. But you, Tyson, your name shall live among the Cyclopses for generations. And Miss Rachel Dare." Rachel flinched when she said her name. She backed up like she was guilty of something, but Pan only smiled. He raised his hand in blessing. "I know you believe you cannot make amends," he said, "but you are just as important as your father." Rachel faltered. A tear traced her cheek. "I know you don't believe this now, but look for opportunities. They will come." Finally, he turned back towards Grover. "My dear satyr," Pan said kindly, "will you carry my message?" Then He says, I can't, but I have to. You have to release me. And finally, Grover says, I've spent my life looking for you. Now I release you. Thank you, my dear satyr, my final blessing. He closed his eyes and the god dissolved. Every single person got like a little pep talk, like, you go, you got this, don't worry, I believe in you, you'll do, except for Nico, who is acknowledged. It's not like Pan totally ignores him. Like, he earlier, he's dying, and Grover refuses to believe it. My dear Grover, Pan said, you must accept the truth. Your companion Nico, he understands. Nico nodded slowly. He's dying. He should have died long ago. This is more like a memory. So, like, it's not like he didn't know Nico was there. It's not like he's not want to talk. He's talked. But what, Nico doesn't get a whole, like, hey, kid, your path is hard, but you're gonna
Here's the thing about
what
Nico
the
in
fuck,
these early books.
Pan?
It seems like Rick had no idea what the fuck to do with Nico in these first few books. Like, he's like, what do I do with this now? Gonna be real fucking powerful demigod that's just kind of hanging out. I don't know what to do with him yet, so we'll not.
You know what? Here's what Pan could have said.
You have limitless
Nico.
potential.
For one so young, you have already experienced so much loss. Don't let that define you. You'll be able to help others navigate these dark paths too. That's it. That's all. And I'm pretty sure I was looking for it because Percy acknowledges that Nico was the only one who didn't get acknowledged by Pan. It doesn't happen in this book, so it must happen in the next one because I clearly remember Nico's like still like, I don't belong. No one wants me. And like the fact that Pan couldn't even say a nice jacket, kid.
You too, bud. Yeah, right. Oh, and Nico, yeah, you too.
Nico. Same. Like, also. And also
Same
Nico.
for
It's like,
you.
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's
Why,
a little
Pan?
strange. Again, just Rick.
So
not knowing what to
ultimately,
do with the
fuck
character.
off, Pan. I don't care. I'm glad you're gone. Grover will do a better job than you ever did. We're done here. So now we
He
do the
couldn't
battle.
do anything for 2,000 years. He was dying.
So there's a battle. A bunch of people die. Like a
There's
lot
a
of demigods die, but no one we care about, so it's fine. Fine.
It's very
okay,
bad.
this
very
is something
bloody,
that's
brutal
important.
Battle.
Yeah, so they get out, and the kids all know that they all have to go to Camp Half-Blood, but Rachel can't go with them. So she's like, hey, call me. You still owe me. I still have questions. But she gets to walk away and disappear into 7th Avenue. And Percy, that's like, I think next book we get, there's a little spoilers for next book, but Percy spends a lot of time with her because she represents getting to walk away. And Percy she gets to go home. She gets to step back. She was part of this adventure, but she doesn't have to be. She chooses to be, and she gets to choose to walk away or not. Percy is bound by prophecy. He literally can't get away from this.
Yeah.
And so there's this difference of like, what are you going to do when it's forced, or what are you going to do when it calls? And Rachel does answer the call to this, but she gets to leave when it's done. Percy can never get out of it, and that's something that'll be played with a lot in the next book. Okay, then they go to the battle.
Yeah.
And people die, but no one we care about. I believe this is the first time we learn that Dionysus has twin sons.
And it's also the first time we realize, he actually cares about his twin sons.
Because one of them dies.
Yeah, one of them dies, and he's distraught.
Dionysus has been gone the whole time.
Yeah.
He's been visiting nature spirits and other minor gods, trying to get them to pledge allegiance to Olympus.
And, that's fair.
Oh, yeah, totally. Because we know Nemesis and some other minor gods are because Hera implies that Janus might be siding with Kronos, too. Yeah. Which,
Janus,
fair.
Nemesis, we know...
Hecate, we know
Hecate later.
Morpheus. A lot of minor gods who don't have cabins on who don't have cabins in Camp Half-Blood.
Yeah.
But their kids are there. Anyway. So there's a battle. But the 100-handed one shows up. Yay! Daedalus and Mrs. O'Leary show up. Yay! Ooh. And then they win the fight.
Daedalus dies.
I don't think... Yeah, Daedalus, like you said, he goes back in the labyrinth, he takes it down. Percy now has a hellhound. It's Mrs.
Percy
O'Leary.
has a hellhound. Love Mrs. O'Leary. Annabeth got a kick-ass laptop that just updates whenever she needs it, and that means hardware
Right,
as well.
She's got his laptop with all of the Daedalus's notes. That's very cool. And then the rest of camp happens.
Yeah, it goes on like normal, like it normally does. after the first week or the last week, it doesn't. I don't know. It's just like, big thing happens, and then we go on and move to like the normal.
And the rest of summer
activities.
camp. Yep. Annabeth and Percy are kind of in this like weird. Oh, because that's the final line. You'll lose a love to a fate worse than death.
Yep.
So that's what happens to Luke. He is literally possessed by Kronos, and that is Annabeth losing a love to the fate worse than death.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
I get it. I would believe that being possessed by Kronos is a fate worse than death.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw how freaked out. That's what we could get. That like, oh, this is what Luke was desperately trying to avoid. That's why he wanted Talia to kill the Orpheus in the last book and go forth with them, because that would mean he wouldn't have to play Avatar for Kronos.
Yeah.
But when that fell through,
but
now
I think
he
Thalia
has
probably
to do
would have
this.
had to play Avatar for Kronos, wouldn't she?
Probably. He probably would have picked Talia. Because she would have had the power to bring down Olympus, and Kronos still wants to do it himself.
Yeah, I would have just been passed on to Thalia.
Yeah, basically. So that's what Luke's going through. I don't feel bad for Luke. He dug his own grave, and now he gets to lie in it.
Oh yeah, don't 100%.
But maybe you fucked up. Maybe you were pissed off at your dad, so you threw your lot in with another shitty dad. What were you thinking, dumbass? What? You had this coming.
It's
I don't feel bad
the
for
gods aren't doing it right. They're doing it better than the Titans did. There's a certain amount of prosperity going on that the Titans just didn't have, right? Like
I'm over here.
Not all of it's the gods' reasoning, but they've like essentially let it happen. I don't think the Titans would have if the Prometheus thing happened under the Titans, all humans involved with the fire at all just would have been killed outright.
Absolutely. 100%. Gone. Done. Kronos was so paranoid about another rebellion from anything. No. Gone. Yeah. Done. And so the answer to solving one broken system is not to revert back to the previous broken system. Yes, U.S.
That was much worse for humans specifically.
Yeah. The United States has issues that need to be dealt with. The answer is not, let's go back to the British Empire.
Yeah, no.
So, but the fight, Dionysus remembers Percy's name for the first time. Dionysus helps Chris Rodriguez because he's the god of madness, and he is able to help Chris get the therapy he needs.
Essentially, it just seems like, I know how like madness works and how it tangles up the brain, so I can untangle.
He's able to help him put himself back together. Yeah, because we see Chris and Clarice at the sing along together, and yay, that's nice. Woo. I'm happy for Clarice. I'll put a pin in this, and we'll circle back to it later. So then we get what I think is actually my favorite. Second favorite ending. Because it's Percy's birthday.
Yeah, true. That's good.
And so it's, they got the situation at school resolved. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
Percy gets to celebrate his birthday. Tyson's there. His mom's there. Paul Volf is there. And Poseidon shows up.
He's like, what's good?
Yeah. Percy's like, okay, hey, Dad. And Sally just opens the door and, oh shit, Poseidon's here. And she's like, I was not fucking prepared. Was not prepared. Has not seen this motherfucker in like fucking 14 years.
At the very least 15
15 years. Has been over 15 years since she saw Poseidon last.
Yeah.
And it's just like, cool.
Understandable. Okay.
So yeah. Poseidon gives Percy a pep talk, tells him you are my favorite son. Like, Tyson's not in the next room, but that's fine.
Like, he also doesn't have Neptune. Not Neptune. Triton.
Yeah, his other kid.
Triton. His other
kid in actual air.
You're my favorite son. But here's the thing about, like, Tyson, right? It's just all Cyclopses are his kid.
Yeah, but
so
still.
It's like...
Tyson, who was so excited to see him, ran up and gave him a hug. Tyson has no issues with Poseidon whatsoever.
Well, yeah, right. And gods clearly have different rules.
It's a whole thing.
Than human parents. They are allowed to have favorites. And Percy is only his favorite son because Sally's his mom.
Yes. Yes, this is true. Also, we know that Typhon, one of the most powerful and problematic Titans is stirring because he was imprisoned under Mount St. Helens and Percy blew up Mount St. Helens. And he warns them that, the eruptions are continuing. Typhon is stirring. It'll likely happen soon. In a few months, perhaps a year at best, he will escape his bonds. Percy's like, hey, I'm really sorry. It's like, don't worry. Kronos is awake. It will happen. Don't worry about it. I just wanted you to know that it is your fault this is happening, but don't worry about it. You're my favorite.
You're my favorite kid, which is why he got like all of his powers. Damn near all of them.
Yeah, this is what he's here to do. He's like, be aware, if Typhon stirs, it'll be unlike anything you faced before. The first time he appeared, all the forces of Olympus were barely enough to battle him. When he stirs again, he will come here, to New York. He will make straight for Olympus. This was just the kind of wonderful news I wanted to get on my birthday. Poseidon patted me on the back like everything was fine. I should go. Enjoy your cake. And just like that, he turned into a mist and was swept out the window on a warm ocean breeze. It took a little work to convince Paul that Poseidon had left via the fire escape. But since people can't vanish into thin air, he had no choice but to believe it. Because Paul still doesn't know. He still doesn't know.
Paul is still
Someone
kind
needs
of
to
in the
tell
dark
Paul.
about all this.
Yeah. So they played all the stuff. Finally, Percy goes back to his room, and he's got I forgot. So Calypso gave him a clipping of moonlace, which is the plant that she grows on Ogygia, and she gave him some before he left and was like, hey, plant this in New York for me, because he's like, oh yeah, there are no real gardens here. She's like, plant this for me. So he does. I do find it sweet. What's a pin in it? I can't do this right now, but pin in it. So he does. He plants it on this little like flower box his mom's got. Plant a garden in Manhattan for me. So he opens the window, steps on the fire escape, and he plants it. Then I watch a tiny silver plant spraying out of the soil, a baby moonlace glistening in the warm summer night. Nice plant, a voice said. I jumped. Nico DeAngelo was standing in the fire escape right next to me. He just appeared there. No, Nico's still practicing shadow travel. He showed up, stumbled, catching my breath, sees the window open, and just like stands super cool guy and just waiting. I'm cool. Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about every time that Nico like shows up after a break of not seeing him. I feel like he goes to his dad and asks him, "Hey, what else can I do?"
I do like that idea. Like, hey, what else can I do?
Hey, like I know I'm like 11, and you're like the parent. You're my parent, and I get Persephone's probably like this kid again, right? Because I guess it's summertime. She's not there.
Yeah, she's not there.
She's not there. But it's like, yeah. Like, he went to visit his dad at first, and that's how I got the Stygian iron blade for, like, self-defense. And he's like, Dad, I got captured. How is there a good way for me to avoid it? I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to be a burden to my friends. Like, yeah, you can actually shadow travel. And Nico's like, that would have been nice to know at the start. That would have been a really cool. It was like,
there's not a handbook for this shit, kid.
There's not like, well, I'm fucking working it out, too. I'm just barely sensing these powers within you. I don't know. And so he's now he can shadow travel, right?
So Nico's there. He's gotten taller, shaggy mess of a hair, black t-shirt, black jeans, a new silver ring shaped like a skull. Nico, you're 11. Stop shopping at Hot Topic. What are you doing?
I think his dad just gave him that shit.
Just all black. Like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, it's Hades, right? He's like, I got appearances to keep up. I guess you could go read my wardrobe. It's magic. It'll fit you. Right?
Mm-hmm. Nico lets Percy know that, like, because Daedalus avoided death, and one of the judges of the underworld is King Minos, so, like, that was kind of a hashtag problem. But he gets down there. Minos wanted to boil him in order, but Hades was like, nah, you're going to redo all the infrastructure in the underworld. Woo! And Daedalus is like, great! Because he gets to, like, see his son and then the nephew, Perdix. On the weekends. That's good. Nico tapped his silver ring.
He gets turned into a partridge.
Partridge in a pear tree. I thought it was a dove, but you're right. Partridge makes more sense.
It's partridge.
Nico tapped at a silver ring, but that's not the real reason I've come. I found out some things. I want to make you an offer. What? The way to beat Luke, he said. If I'm right, it's the only way you'll stand a chance. I took a breath. Okay, I'm listening. Nico glanced inside my room. His eyebrows furrowed. Is that blue birthday cake? He sounded hungry, maybe a little wistful. I wondered if the poor kid had ever had a birthday party, or if he'd ever been invited to one. Come inside for cake and ice cream, I said. It sounds like we've got a lot to talk about. I love that.
I mean, it's just really he might have. He grew up in the 20s.
40s. World War II.
Right. It's not, it didn't happen. It happened at the start.
But like Italy. It was Italy, World War II, under the fucking like Mussolini. Fascist regime. Mussolini. Yeah. I don't know.
No,
what,
they were in
birthday
America.
Tradition.
They were in America at the end of it. Because the mom escaped right at the start of Mussolini. The mom escaped.
Oh, did
Either
she?
that or Hades helped her.
They not still in Italy?
No, they weren't still in Italy. They went to
No,
America.
she dies. There was a bomb. Zeus destroyed it, but they thought it was he was able to mask it as a bomb.
Yeah, but it was at the end of the war. After the pact was signed.
That's true. After the pact has been signed, or not. All right. Well, we'll put a pin in that. Another pin. So many pins. Last Olympian, we have so many pins we have to deal with. But
Second last Olympians.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. I mean, it's the 40s. I don't think like birthday parties and like birthday cake were like a super big. It was World War II. We were rationing shit. Like, I'm sure his mom. I'm sure they celebrated his birthday, but like
maybe who's to say? It's very difficult
to say.
Be like, oh yeah, birthdays were celebrated pretty frequently in the 40s. I don't know.
I have no idea. Someone tell us. I bet you know.
The economy was on the up and up during the 40s. We know that much at least.
It was on the up and up there, but they were still at a ration shit.
Yeah.
Because the war. The 50s is when you really start to see like big ol' nuclear American families moving to the suburbs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just Nico gets to come in and have blue birthday cake with Percy and his family. That's really nice. It's just like it. I just like that ending. It's very sweet. It's very different than the last couple endings we've gotten.
It's nice. It's not. It's a cliffhanger, but it's sweet. Right? It's cliffhanger.
Yes.
Oh, what's Nico's plan? But Nico also gets to hang out with Percy and his family.
Yeah, it's really nice because the last was fucking Talia shows up at the end of Sea of Monsters. That's earth shattering. Then the last one is like Percy taking on the mantle. Nico's run away. Everything's gone wrong. And then this one is like, all right, we might have a way to beat Kronos, but we're not sure. Blue birthday cake, and it's like,
What was the first one's ending?
I don't remember. I think it just ended.
Yeah, I don't think it had like a real.
Percy decides to go home, and he's going to come back next summer. So that's Battle of the Labyrinth.
That's Battle of the Labyrinth. Long episode, y'all. Sorry. Probably after editing, I don't know, what, hour and a half, 2 hours still?
I mean, there's not a lot of stuff I think I'm going to take out, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of not real-ass tangents. Maybe some of the pan stuff you could scoop out, but maybe not. I don't know.
I'll see. But yeah, so this is we're back. Hey, everybody. We're back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. Thanks you for, patience. I know hiatuses are never fun for anything, but I needed it. And I feel better.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I feel better. And I'm really excited to tackle this next section and just really be able to focus on the podcast and what we're making and then connecting with our audience and like listeners and just meeting people in their expectations. Like that's what I'm excited for this season and as well as talking about the myths and the stories because there's a lot of really good stuff. We've got a lot of really cool guests who are going to come on and I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm very excited.
All right, so we will be back. We're on our regularly scheduled program now, so we're back on our bullshit. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Tuesday, August 30th with an episode about the Impusa. Until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor, the Crystal Con Man. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain, and our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology, or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.